So I got an ask that was, that asks how and when I got into nutrition and weightlifting. And it's such a long story that I didn't feel like typing it because I haven't taken Adderall today. Um, so my brain's a little, and typing would just take me probably over an hour. And I could do it tomorrow, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do it right now. Because I'm all about the instant gratification, friends. So I'm probably going to be a little rambly and have some troubles with the talking and the stuttering, because I stutter sometimes. Alright, so let's see. I started getting into nutrition. I should talk about nutrition first. Well, when I was about 11 or 12, I grew up around, nutrition and diets and stuff like that. That was normal for me. My mom was someone who was, did lots of fad diets, like Atkins, Slim Fast, Weight Watchers, yada, 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 yada. So, when I was about 11 or 12, I developed an eating disorder. And I didn't really, know anything about food or nutrition or anything. I just stopped eating. I was just nah. And then probably the peak of, my eating disorder was from the ages of 14 to 17. That's when, it was at its worst. And I picked up, bits and pieces of nutrition that were really vapid, not accurate information. Probably the biggest one was is that fat is bad for you. So for a long time I thought that eating fat, eating low fat food was good. And over time, it evolved from being just an eating disorder like anorexia to being an extreme obsession with being quote-unquote healthy. And doing, it was almost like there was a checklist of things that I had to do. I was extremely obsessive. I was extremely compulsive about it. And not once did I ever look like I had an eating disorder. So that was really, really, no one ever intervened, because I never I never got under 100 pounds. My lowest weight was probably 113, and I was working out so often that I just looked like I was fit. And so that's why I'm a really firm believer that eating disorders don't have a body type. They're a mental illness. So anyway, I get to about the age of 17, and I'm probably in a relationship. I was in a relationship at this point, 17, 18, and I remember freaking out about eating too many calories, and too many calories to me was over 1,000 calories, which is basically nothing. I can eat that in one sitting right now, at Kenna age 21. Sometimes I do eat 1,000 calories in one sitting, and I'm oh my god, that was glorious. Like I said, this was probably at its peak, and I was crying about it, and that's when I realized that I had to do something about it. So I never went to a therapist. I was really lucky, and that I'm so fucking stubborn that I force myself to do things. It took probably a lot longer for me to recover on my own, and there are some people who have their eating disorders are so bad that it's impossible to do on your own, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was just lucky that I managed to do that. But yeah, it took a really long time for me to recover on my own, and it's something that I still deal with because I don't feel eating disorders just go away. They don't just up and disappear. You're not just fixed all of a sudden. It's a lot like anxiety, where you just learn to deal with it better over time, and you have a better control over it, and you know what's triggering, and sometimes you can desensitize yourself to those triggering things, and sometimes you can't. for a long time, like, scales were really, really triggering for me, so I couldn't do that. And then for a while, I couldn't really log food because I would just get too obsessive about it. So, yeah, I mean, like, over time, I've gotten better. Like, when I decided that I had to really, like, work on it, that's when I started to delve into nutrition. And I really didn't get into, like, nutrition, like, molecular biology, cellular biology, parts of nutrition, and, like, all of that cool jazz until I was 21. And I turned 21 in April. So, like, that's really when I started doing it. And then I guess we can talk about lifting now. So with all of the lift, like, for a long time I was a cardio bunny because I had an eating disorder. You'd think cardio is the way to go, but it's not. And I was training jiu-jitsu, and then I hurt my hip and I couldn't train jiu-jitsu and I couldn't run. So I didn't know what to do, and I had all this energy, and I, like, was getting really unhappy with the way my body looked because I'm still dealing with this eating disorder and I have a really bad body image. So I'm freaking the fuck out. I don't know what to do. And then I'm like, oh, I could lift weights. And so I get a personal trainer, and I basically learn all the basic lifts. I have this personal trainer just so I can learn how to squat, deadlift, bench press. And then after that, I, like, go off on my own. And when I first started lifting, I was really into the 5-day bodybuilding split, which now I would never do. Having the knowledge that I have now, it's not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just there doesn't go with my goals. So then I became really, really drawn to powerlifting, and I'm not a powerlifter, but I really like how straightforward it is, and a lot of the concepts that they talk about in powerlifting, you can take it and implement them into any kind of workout, like regimen or goal thing, any kind of, like, lifting, really. So I didn't start lifting until I was, like, 19, and then I really got into powerlifting when I was probably, like, 20. Yeah, and then now I don't really do anything. I got my hip surgery, and after I was cleared from my physical therapist to be in the gym, I realized that powerlifting was the best way to get back into, to rehab my hip, as well as, like, physical therapy. But yeah, so I basically did lifting because I couldn't train jiu-jitsu, and I couldn't run, which was really, like, didn't want to do that after training jiu-jitsu. But yeah, so that's how I got into lifting and stuff. That's really it. That's it. Okay, bye.